We live each and every day in communion with plant spirits. They color our world and surround us with their life-giving energy. They may sink into the background of a bustling city or become our refuge from the chaos of the man-made world. We may grow them in our gardens for nourishment or use them for their medicinal properties. It is easy to acknowledge them for their natural beauty and their ancient place in our world, but what if we take it a step further and acknowledge the plants as our healers and teachers, that they are available to us for our physical and spiritual healing, our learning, and our transformation, that we can cultivate a relationship with them, and they may offer us guidance when we need it. My curiosity about the wisdom of the plants and my desire to heal led me to Peru 7 years ago to seek healing from the shamans and their plant spirit guides. I now live part-time in Peru practicing shamanism in the Shipibo tradition, working with and learning from the wisdom of the master plants at our healing center, Niue Rao. This may be new territory for you as it was for me, and I would like to share my thoughts about how we can heal, learn, and transform with the guidance, support, and knowledge of plant spirits. In the beginning of my healing journey, I was unwell and unable to move forward in my life in a healthy way. I wanted desperately to thrive, and yet I was stuck. Many aspects of my life were great. I had a good career, close relationships with friends and family, and opportunities to travel. And yet each morning, depression would enter into my world and create a cloud that would cover my day. There was a growing pain in my stomach, my digestion was poor, I suffered from migraines, and found myself often too tired to fulfill all that my spirit wanted out of a day. The confusing part was there was not a defining moment that I could think of that caused me to feel this way. This went on for a few years, and during that time I saw many doctors, all of whom were telling me that they could not find anything physically wrong with me. This news made me more confused. How could I feel so unwell and yet from a medical standpoint be a healthy woman? This was the moment that I realized that I needed to move forward and find a different pathway into my healing. Soon after this realization, ayahuasca came under my radar. Unsure of where to start, I looked up at the sky and asked the universe for a helping hand, and within days, I was led to a person that showed me the way. A month later, I was on a plane on my way to my first ayahuasca healing center in Iquitos, Peru, where my initial 10-day stay turned into a 6-month journey. With very little knowledge about this medicine and some built-up fear of losing control from a mind-altering substance, I decided to let go and trust that the universe had brought me there. Initially, I came with the intention to work and heal with ayahuasca, and it was during that time that I discovered the world of healing with the wisdom of the master plants. When I arrived at the center, I was met by a shaman and shared my intentions on why I had come. The shaman assessed my state of health and well-being and set me off with what was my first encounter with 2 master healer plants. I was instructed to drink these plants and make my way to the evening ayahuasca ceremony. That evening, a shaman came over to my mat and began singing an Icaro in Shipibo. This song, I later learned, was when the shaman opened my plant dieta and connected me to the world of my plants. This was when my dialogue with the plants began. Master plants, what are they and how do they heal us? The Amazon is home to hundreds upon hundreds of healing plants. Within this landscape of green live evolved master plant spirits that contain sacred knowledge and wisdom. They are our healers and teachers. They have their own spirit, consciousness, world, and healing songs. The master plants can heal us on many levels. My focus here is on how the plants work on healing our emotional bodies and how that in turn leads us to our physical and spiritual wellness. Piño Blanco is a master plant full of light, one that clears our minds and opens our hearts. People that come to us with psychological traumas, anxiety, and depression may be given this as their master plant. The strength of the Ojé tree can be used for cleansing our body, mind, and spirit from drug and alcohol addictions, offering insight and help to those in need of changing deep-rooted patterns of substance abuse. The spirit of the Ajo Sacha plant connects us and helps us to heal our hearts. It may be given to a person suffering from feelings of isolation, depression, or a person feeling disconnected to themselves, others, or their lives. Coca is known as the divine plant of the Incas. It connects us to the earth as well as opens our minds to the higher spiritual realms. We may offer this plant to a person that wants to learn more about spirituality or universal knowledge. The spirit of Morosa lives in the underwater world, a plant that connects us to our emotions, helps us to understand our feelings, and also connects us to our divine feminine. Ayahuasca is known as the mother plant of the master plants. She can help us gain access into the higher spiritual dimensions as well as our own personal truth. Ayahuasca works side by side with our master plant diets. Not only is she a gateway into the spiritual dimensions, she is a channel to the deeper spiritual connection to our plant. She removes the veils so that we can receive teachings from our plant and understand parts of its world. Ayahuasca may help us to hear our plant. We may find ourselves in a conversation with it where important information is shared or realized, or we may simply feel the presence of our plants more deeply. Once the plant's world is opened in us and we are connected to it, its energies and spirit begin to work on our whole being. With or without ayahuasca, the interaction with our master plant is always taking place. It becomes a part of us and lives inside our bodies, our minds, and our spirits. It works on our physical bodies as well on us through our thoughts, reflections, insights, memories, and dreams. Establishing a relationship to the master plants. In order to connect to the master plants, we begin by creating a sacred space in our bodies. We follow a simple diet free from salt, sugar, oils, dairy, meat, spicy or strong foods, and alcohol. We limit social contact and abstain from sex. Our desire is to create a space hospitable to the plants, an intimate place where we can focus on building a relationship with them. Through purification, intention, and solitude, we move closer into the plant's higher level of vibration. When we meet them from a place of humility, curiosity, and respect, they begin to let us into their world. The dialogue with the plant begins. Some of us may feel our plants right away. We may feel the presence of something other than ourselves, a quiet voice speaking to us that is not our own. Some of us may not feel anything at all and have difficulty knowing the difference between our voice and the voice of the plant. This place of unknowing can become an opportunity to open ourselves up to a new form of communication. Perhaps an opportunity to begin a dialogue with our plant, to share our story, give our intentions, ask questions, or simply an opportunity to listen. As we form a connection, the plant begins to clean us. I like to use the metaphor of our physical and spiritual bodies being a house. We have a house with many rooms, and within these rooms we have our things. When we first move in, our houses are empty, but as time passes, we begin to collect things. The drawers may become almost too full to close. The corners of the room start collecting dust. The once new light bulb that shone so brightly is now covered with a layer of dust, preventing the light from fully shining through. If we don't clean the dust bunnies out, they continue to grow. If we don't throw anything away, we will eventually run out of room to collect anything new. If we don't organize, we either can't find anything or forget what we have. And if we don't remove the dust, the light can't fully shine through. This is where the plants come in. They start helping us to clean our house. Most of what occurs during the plant diet is focused around cleaning the body from toxins, cleaning the mind from psychological disturbances, cleaning the spirit and soul from blocked energies, emotions, and traumas. The way that the plant begins to clean us is by showing us our blocks, our illnesses, and the events of our lives that have affected our wholeness and well-being. Let me use myself as an example. The stomach pain, poor digestion, migraines, and depression that I carried with me daily were ailments that were a mystery to me. During the process of working with my plants, I started to become aware of what these ailments were. In order to move forward in my life, the plants were gently pushing me to move back into my childhood. It was during the early years of my childhood that I began storing emotions in my body. The plants brought awareness to these blocked areas and began revealing what they were and why they were there. I began to remember and dream of events from my early childhood that I had either forgotten or had no memory of at all. By day, the more I reflected, the more I began to put the pieces together. During the sorting process, more memories came, more insights and understandings revealed themselves. Not only was I remembering and understanding, I was having an emotional response and connection to these past events. Much of these realizations were taking place by day with the help of solitude and the work my plant was doing to bring these events to the surface. The evening ayahuasca ceremonies revealed even more information through my personal dialogue with ayahuasca, as well as through my visionary work. Trying to make sense of what I was seeing, feeling, and remembering was difficult. I felt somewhat confused and lost. I questioned the validity and truth of what was unraveling. It was in these unsettled moments that my relationship to my plants deepened. I needed someone to turn to, and there they were. They became my ally and a place I could go to see the bigger picture. The more I trusted, questioned, and listened to them, the more I understood and the closer I came to the truth. This dance of interpretation led me to understand that the physical pains in my body, as well as my depression, were a manifestation of repressed emotions. Strong experiences that I was unable to deal with as a child resulted in creating a system of storing these experiences inside my body. My stomach and intestines became a container for my sadness and my shame. My heart became a container for my anger. My head and neck became a container for the repressed secret that I carried. As a result of storing these emotions and experiences, the natural energy flow of my mind, body, and spirit became blocked, and pain resulted. For years, my body was trying to send me these messages, and I just couldn't understand. It was the plants that were finally showing me the way in. As I began to release these emotions and memories, my body responded, and it began to heal. As its natural flow was restoring, my digestion became stronger, my migraines fewer, and my depression dissolved. The natural energy flow of my body, mind, and spirit began to flow again. Throughout my process, the shamans were also helping me clean these old energetic blocks. By removing them, they were creating a new space within my being, a space for more light, more peace, and more love to exist. They were also continually realigning, strengthening, and rebalancing me so I could continue on with more strength and clarity. I chose to use myself as an example because it was the base for where my learning about the process of healing with plants began. Where it continues to grow is through my fieldwork experience at Niue Rao. Through the last 5 years, people have come to our center for many different reasons. Some of the more common ones would be general lethargy, depression, anxiety, physical illness, problems with drugs and alcohol. Many feel unfulfilled or simply stuck in their lives and are in search of their higher purpose. Some people come to experiment with ayahuasca, while others come to learn. Regardless of their reason, once they begin their process with the plants, a commonality occurs. The plants begin their work, and within this process, we begin to see that they have a system. At this point, I have touched upon a handful of these. A relationship is established between a master plant and the individual, and a dialogue begins. At this point, the cleaning also begins as the plants start to reveal blockages within the body, mind, and spirit. The individual responds to this by receiving and processing the information. The plants then take them a step further. The plants begin to reveal our blockages by revealing new and deeper layers. Traveling from the leaves of the tree down the trunk and into its root system. It is in the root system that possibly deeper repressed emotions may live, have been buried, or forgotten about. As we begin to process our emotions and release them, we create a space for new and deeper layers to reveal themselves. An example would be, we may feel depressed and are trying to understand what we are sad about. And when we look deep into ourselves, we may find another emotion, such as anger, that has been wearing the face of sadness. Once we find the emotion block our trauma that is causing us distress, we are more than halfway there. We are able to see it for what it is and begin to heal the wound that caused it. Throughout the healing process, the plants continually reveal and draw out new layers of information for us to navigate through. It is as though they are quietly telling us that the only way out is by going in. They pull us deeper into our own introspection and gently push us into deep-seated layers that we need to clean and clear in order to uncover the truths about how we got to the place where we are now. When we begin to reveal, we heal. At times, people have difficulty during their process because they seek immediate resolution. The things that take time to create also take time to resolve. The plants seem to know what we are ready for and in what order we need to process our healing in. And when we trust that they have brought us to exactly where we need to be, we open ourselves up to the endless possibilities of our healing. When we find the root causes of our internal blocks, we are able to understand ourselves in a more whole way. The plants begin to teach us how to navigate through our emotions, blockages, and traumas. As we strengthen this skill, we become more empowered by our own potential. As we start to uncover our true essence, we are closer to becoming who we are truly meant to be. This leads us into another important aspect of our process in healing with the master plants, playing our part in working with them by doing the personal work. As we go deeper into the process of realization and release, we may find ourselves immersed in a world of our emotions. We often see people stuck during this phase, not knowing what to do with their feelings as they begin to understand the events in their lives that brought them to where they are today. Possibly resentment to those who have hurt them, or guilt for those they have hurt, or being a victim to their circumstance. Where do we release these feelings? How do we make peace with them, and how can the plants help us with this? As I experienced this phase in my healing and asked my plants for guidance, they led me to the importance of forgiveness of self and for others. They presented me a tool in learning how to forgive by showing me the importance of writing my feelings out in the form of letters. Not journal entries of my process, but letters to myself and to the people I wanted to forgive or wanted forgiveness from. They showed me that in order to move forward, I had to accept and move on from the past faults that were blocking my way into my inner fullness and peace. The paper became a safe place to explore my feelings, to speak my truth, and to find my way into the process of forgiveness. My goal in writing these letters wasn't to send them. It was to let my thoughts and feelings out and give them the space that they needed. This was empowering because it gave my feelings validation. They were no longer swimming in the abyss of my body and mind. They were right in front of me to look at and process through. This gave me a deeper understanding of who I was and what I needed to change in order to move forward in a healthy way. The most freeing part of writing these letters was not sending them. Instead, rolling them up, burning them, and offering them to the light, letting them go. Each letter written was one less burden I carried and one more door I opened into my transformation. When we forgive, we are more able to let go and more able to find peace. We open a space within ourselves and in our relationships for the presence of more light and more love. We open the possibilities of a new way of being and living. Another jewel that my plants brought forth was the awareness they opened in me about the importance of connecting to my inner child, that she was very much a part of me and needed care. I realized that the little girl in me was the gatekeeper of my memories and my emotions, and the more that I connected to her and communicated with her, the more I understood about how I became who I am today. The patterns I repeated in my life began to make sense. In establishing a relationship with her, I was truly getting to know myself. As I began integrating my inner child with my adult self, I began unifying and fortifying my whole being. We can integrate these tools from our plants into our daily personal systems. They can help us navigate our relationship with self as well as our relationship with others. Through this personal work, we may continue to strengthen, empower, and transform ourselves. We can move in the world from a place of inner balance and wholeness. As we move into the end of our process with our master plant diet, the shaman sings a song in our final ceremony to align our plant and strengthen its presence within us. The world of the plant he opened in the beginning, he now closes. Within this final song, he also protects the world of the plant and the work that we have done. We now stand at a new point in our journey of self-transformation. And from this point on, our plants live inside of us, are a part of us, and walk with us. As we continue to recognize their presence, to integrate them into our lives, and to engage with them, they continue to guide us. Perhaps we can create a spiritual garden where our master plant lives, a place we can go to when we desire growth, inspiration, and sacred connection. Within our garden, we can plant seeds of the things we desire from our lives, possibly seeds of a future goal we may have or a dream we may want to fulfill. Our intentions are the seeds, and when we plant them, it is our emotions that water the seedlings, our healthy choices that nourish the soil, our joy that brings sunshine and growth, and our patience and wisdom that transforms our gardens into our sanctuary. Our spiritual garden can be the gatekeeper of our sacred world. Each of our stories are different and unique, and we all have something in common: the desire to feel well, to be happy, to uncover what our gifts are, to find our purpose, and to thrive. When we invite the wisdom of the plants to help us, we call forth an ally, a friend, and an opportunity to uncover our true potential. Through forming these alliances and empowering ourselves, we not only uncover our true potential, we begin to share it with the world. As we share our own unique medicine, we in turn create a more harmonious space for others to do the same. As we live in our wholeness and wellness, we in turn may empower others to live in their own. We continue on as students with the opportunity to teach others through our own experiences and through the ways in which we express our truest selves. Merging mind, body, and spirit through intention, relationship to plant spirit, and shamanic approaches, we begin to see, feel, live, and be with more love and more presence. We can step forward into our truest selves, and we can bloom.